Life has a way of leading us into moments we never see coming. That thought echoed through my mind as I sat on the edge of a narrow motel bed. The faint rattle of an aging air conditioner filling the room, while distant headlights swept across the thin curtains. I was miles from the life I recognized, stranded in a quiet place I had never planned to be, with a man I was never meant to think about this way. Logan had been working out of town for months. At first, we counted the days together through calls and late-night messages. But as time passed, his voice grew distant, his words shorter, his attention thinner. What hurt most wasn't just the separation. It was the slow realization that I no longer seemed to matter in the rhythm of his life. I missed him, yes. But more than that, I missed feeling seen. Loneliness doesn't arrive loudly. It seeps in quietly. And once it settles, it starts rewriting your thoughts. That morning I asked Gary, Logan's longtime family friend and our driver, to take me to visit my father. He had been helping since Logan left, always dependable, always confident. At the time, it felt like nothing more than a practical decision. I only wanted to escape the silence of my house for a few hours. I didn't know I was stepping into something that would shake me far more than I expected. Before leaving, I paused at the mirror near the doorway. I looked worn down, but behind the exhaustion, I saw someone who still longed to feel alive. I adjusted my hair, straightened my dress, and walked outside with a quiet breath. Gary was finishing his breakfast when I entered the kitchen. He greeted me easily, as he always did, his energy light, almost reassuring. We exchanged a few casual words, nothing meaningful. Yet something about the ease between us softened the heaviness I'd been carrying. The road stretched endlessly under the afternoon sun. I watched the scenery blur past while he filled the quiet with small talk and the low hum of the radio. For a brief moment, I felt almost peaceful. Then the engine jolted. A sharp mechanical sound sliced through the calm. The car slowed, stuttered, and finally fell silent. My stomach tightened. What just happened? Gary pulled over and turned the key again. Nothing but empty clicks. We're not going anywhere, he said quietly. We tried calling for help, but service was weak and unreliable. As daylight faded, every option vanished one by one. No tow trucks available, no mechanics willing to come this far at night. The only place within walking distance was a small roadside motel. At the front desk, Gary handled everything while I stood back, arms folded, nerves tangled between worry and something I couldn't quite define. The clerk slid a single key across the counter. Room 12. The room was small and worn. One narrow bed, a tiny nightstand, dull light humming overhead. The air felt thick and stale. One bed, I murmured, for one night. He replied lightly, "We'll be fine." The heat clung to my skin. "I need to cool off," I said, grabbing my bag. When I closed the bathroom door behind me, I leaned against the sink and studied my reflection. The woman staring back looked conflicted, tired, uncertain, but still searching for something she couldn't name. The shower eased my body but not my thoughts. Logan's face drifted through my mind. I had only meant to visit my father. Instead, I was caught in a moment I hadn't prepared my heart for. When I returned to the room in a loose, simple dress, Gary glanced up from his phone. His eyes lingered just long enough to make the air shift. The silence between us grew heavier. Needing space, I went downstairs alone, ordered a quiet meal and a glass of wine. I told myself it was only to relax. But my thoughts kept drifting back to the room upstairs. When I returned, Gary had showered. He sat on the edge of the bed, hair still damp, the room filled with the clean scent of soap. Neither of us spoke for several long seconds. That night, sleep came slowly. Sometime later, I felt the bed shift. I opened my eyes slightly. Gary was awake, sitting at the edge of the mattress, lost in thought. When he noticed me watching, he straightened. "I didn't mean to wake you," he said softly. "It's okay." The quiet between us felt electric, filled with whatever neither of us was brave enough to say aloud. He didn't move closer, not at first. "This situation, it feels unreal," he murmured. "I know," I replied. His hand hovered uncertainly, then rested gently near mine, hesitant, careful. My breath caught at the simple warmth of his touch. "This shouldn't be happening," he whispered. "Maybe it already is." Our faces were close now, too close to ignore the truth between us. When our foreheads touched, the world outside the room seemed to vanish. The kiss that followed was slow, cautious, full of emotion rather than urgency. Two lonely people crossing a line they had both tried to avoid. And then we pulled back, neither of us ready to go further. We lay side by side afterward, not touching, yet not distant anymore. The silence was no longer empty. Morning came quietly. Gary was already dressed when I woke. "The car's working," he said. The drive back was quiet. The city slowly returned to view, and with it came the weight of reality. Some nights don't fade with the sunrise. They settle into you. And this one, quiet, complicated, unforgettable, never truly left me.